So I just finished watching the latest PlayStation showcase on September 14th, and it looks like Sony gave us a lot of good stuff this time around. Now, to be fair, they didn't give us a lot of different games this time. Instead of quantity, they focused on quality of gameplay for the biggest games that we're excited about coming from their exclusive lineup. So right off the bat, let's just get right into it. I think Spider-Man 2 is going to top God of War Ragnarok this year. From the gameplay that we've seen alone in the last trailer, let alone the stuff that they showed off today, I think this game is poised to be Sony's top dog in terms of exclusive games. Everything they showed off in terms of the symbiote action, everything they showed off in terms of the new villains like Mysterio we're going to face, and whoever else that was in the trailer, and they kind of hinted that there are going to be more villains present in the game, but we'll have to wait and see who they actually mean. The gameplay that they showed off showed a high emphasis on speed. They really focused on the new wingsuit in this segment, and it looks like we're going to be able to really traverse much faster than we were in Spider-Man 2018. I know I've said that before already, but it looks like it's really got some weight to it. Like the wingsuit, you actually feel the turbulence as you glide through the air, and it just looks like it's going to feel really good to traverse through New York that way. Speaking of New York, we're actually able to go to two different boroughs. I believe it's Queens and Brooklyn this time, which makes sense because Miles is originally from Brooklyn and Peter's originally from Queens. And then, obviously, we have Manhattan, where they both currently resided. They once again confirmed that you're going to be able to switch between Miles and Peter at will, and I think that's such a great feature to have. We also got to look at a lot of different types of story activities that are going to be present. It seems like they brought back spider beacons from way back in the original Spider-Man game for the PS2, which I think is a really great callback and homage to that game on their part. We're also going to be able to do some fun stuff with Kraven and his hunter drones, so we'll have to wait and see what kind of trouble we get into in the game with those. Looks like there's going to be some sort of spider token activities, as well as something related to the Prowler from what I could see by his logo that's placed in the game. The new finishers they show off are flashy as hell. We knew that from the original reveal of the symbiote suit way back when, but now obviously we're just seeing more of it. And the arms, the Spidey arms, I cannot emphasize how awesome that looked. It's going to be so sick to actually start fighting with those. We also have a bunch of new suits that are available in the game. I didn't really see much of them at the State of Play showcase today, so we'll have to wait and see what is actually included in our suit sort of lineup. But from what I have seen, they're going to include at least some of the suits from the previous game, which I think is a given that they should, because a lot of them, like the Into the Spider-Verse suit for Miles, I think that's a must-have that you have to have it in this game. And like the Raimi suit and the Amazing Spider-Man suit on Peter the first time around in the last game, I think was a great addition on Insomniac's part. And I think suits like that should continue to be present in the next game. Insomniac did say that the map was about twice the size of the first game, which I think is really impressive considering how big the last map was. It literally took me like 10 minutes to travel from edge to edge of the Manhattan Island, but hopefully with the faster swinging and the faster traversal this time around, hopefully we can mitigate that, even though the map is almost twice as large. I did get little glimpses of like tandem sort of combat where Miles and Peter are sort of working together as they're fighting people, but I'll have to see if that's just like a finisher based thing where they can do like a partner finisher together on an enemy or something, or they can actually like fight in tandem together in real time. And speaking of suits, one last time, Peter's suit, I think, in my opinion, looks much better this time around. Like, you got that real vibrant red as opposed to the sort of softer, muted kind of red that we got in the first game. And I think it just looks so much nicer and so much cleaner, and it really contrasts to the blue of his suit. It just looks like the perfect suit for him in this game. We've already seen a lot from Spider-Man 2 at this point. We've seen, like, I don't know, I've lost count of how many trailers we've seen of the game at this point. Based on everything we've seen, I think this is Sony's new top dog. I think God of War and God of War Ragnarok are about to be dethroned, and that's crazy, but I think people are going to love that Spider-Man 2 is going to be able to take that title as Sony's biggest exclusive game. Some other cool stuff that we saw from the PlayStation showcase is Resident Evil 4 Remake is actually getting a VR mode for PlayStation VR 2. I think that looks really sick. I mean, that Krauser knife fight, I mean, there was a VR mode for the original RE4 that was like ported to a couple of VR platforms, but you weren't actually able to knife fight Krauser. It was the standard QuickTime event from the original game, but it looks like you're actually able to knife fight him in first person, which I think is amazing. I can't wait to try that. Oh god, I have to get PlayStation VR 2 now. Resident Evil 4 is also getting the Separate Ways DLC. I think that focuses on Ada Wong. Jared's the expert on Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4 in particular, so he'll have to get down in the comments on that and correct me if I'm wrong. But that looks pretty cool. Ada's got some secret stuff going on, and she might have like an infection type thing going on behind the scenes. And they're also getting a mercenaries mode. And it's the first time we've seen Wesker again in I don't even know how long. Resident Evil 6, I think, was the last time we saw him, and that was, I don't even know how many years ago. Guys, I didn't think I'd say this for a while. Ubisoft actually made a good game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora actually looks unironically good. Like, I'm actually pretty excited for this game. I know it's basically just Far Cry with an Avatar skin on it, but you know, this setting, I think for that type of formula, or for that type of game even, I think that really works here. We saw some gameplay here, but nothing extended, and the story seems really cool. You are a Nafi that was kidnapped by the RDA when you were a young kid. They sort of cut you off from the world, and you're trying to get back in touch with it, and then surprise, surprise, RDA comes back, and you're trying to fight them off. I think now that we sort of have a clearer idea of what the game is going to entail in terms of like a story and like a flow, I think people are really going to gravitate to this game, and it's sort of going to be like a sleeper hit almost. The Banshees and the flying in this also looked really cool. It looked like something that Ubisoft hasn't really done before. I think it's really cool that you could switch between first and third person in this game as well. I think the perspective shift, it makes it feel like almost like an RPG. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's the impression that it gives. The gunplay, the sort of like bow action on every bow and arrow that you have, it looks really cool. And the combat, the finishers that you have on the RDA personnel, they look kind of brutal, not gonna lie. But we knew that going into it because, you know, the Na'vi show no mercy to the invaders. So we'll have to wait and see if this game actually ends up being a hit on December 7th when it comes out. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I think Ubisoft has a real hit on their hands. Unlike Skull and Bones. Ghost Runner 2, we got a little bit of gameplay on that, and I'm gonna buy that day one because I love the original Ghost Runner game, and if you haven't played it, you certainly should. It's a great game, super fast-paced, very lethal, very gory, and looks like they're just giving us more of the first game with the second one, so that's fine by me. Sony also debuted 3 new color variations of the PS5 and the DualSense controller, which I think is pretty cool. It's called their Deep Earth collection. It throws me back to the original like PS2 where we used to get the steel blue or the gray one or the silver one of the PS2 there. So I think that's really cool. I think more colors, more different variations, even if they want to start dropping themes or, you know, more limited editions like they are with the Spider-Man one, which if you are watching this video, I think pre-orders go up for that today. So if you're seeing this video, it's probably already gone. Sorry. Helldivers 2 looks pretty awesome, not gonna lie. I think this is a co-op game that I've been waiting around for. Kind of reminds me of Gears of War, but sort of with a modern sort of flash about it. Looks like there's a big emphasis on teamwork where, you know, you're not able to shoot a missile launcher unless someone else loads it for you, which I have never seen that in a game before, at least not a co-op shooter like this. I like the emphasis that Helldivers 2 looks to have on sort of forced, or not forced, but sort of like essential cooperative gameplay where you sort of do actually rely on each other to do certain actions in the game. So I can't wait to give Helldivers 2 a try, and you definitely should too. It comes out on February 8th, so mark your calendars for that. It looks like Tales of Arise is getting a new expansion, which is pretty cool. I'm not the biggest Tales of Arise fan, but it looks good. It looks like it's going to give fans what they want, so not much to say about that. That comes out November 9th if you're interested. Honestly, sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings, but who cares about foam stars? Like, it just looks super lame. It looks super bland. Honestly, looks like it's been marketed to kids more so, which, you know, that's fine. Foam stars kind of look like it's a direct Splatoon competitor combined with an Overwatch sort of hero element. Or if I'm being honest, it kind of looks like a Splatoon ripoff, but like, hey, not really interested in that. But you know, if that's your cup of tea, it looks like that's going to release in early February. We finally got a release date for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and let me tell you, it looks amazing. Even when part 1 of Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I thought that looked amazing, but they just raised the bar again in terms of like graphical fidelity, in terms of realism, and it looks like this game is just gorgeous, and it looks like we're going to get up to some cool stuff here. The combat looks flashy as always. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, especially modern Final Fantasy ever since 15. It looks like you're just able to do more than you were in the first game, and I love that. So we'll have to wait and see what Final Fantasy VII Rebirth actually ends up playing like, and that comes out on February 29th. And lastly, and certainly least, the guy who made Getting Over It made another game. Yeah, the Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. That Bennett Foddy, yeah, he made a game called Baby Steps, and honestly, looks hilarious. And I'm actually going to try playing it. I'm going to get angry at it. I'm probably going to break a controller or two, but you know, hey, that's how the game is played. So honestly, I'm actually really excited to play Baby Steps because it looks like it's going to be dumb fun in the best kind of way. And it looks like, if you guys remember QWOP, that's what it really gave me the vibe of here. It really gave me the impression that like it's sort of QWOP mixed with elements from Getting Over It. So we'll have to see what that actually plays like, but I just know it's going to make everyone who plays it angry already. And there's a Ghostbusters VR game in development for PlayStation VR 2, and that's supposedly coming out later this year as well. The big thing I want to focus on here, guys, is Spider-Man 2 and the fact that everything we've seen about the game so far, it looks flashy as hell. From everything from the combat to what you're able to do in the city, the villains that you're going to end up fighting to what you're going to be able to do with Miles, and even like the story, how it's going to be written. We still have no idea what like the major details of the story are going to be. So I'm really excited for Spider-Man 2 to come out on October 20th. So yeah, guys, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to talk about that and rant about Spider-Man 2 and the rest of the PlayStation Showcase and what I thought about it was good, what I thought about it was okay, and now I want to get your thoughts on it. So let me know what your favorite game of the showcase was, and meet me down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. We publish brand new content on the channel every day, so there's always something new for you to watch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.